So you discover then, at that point, that the meditation exercises are still a form of magic, done to use energy for the purpose of aggrandizing yourself, which in turn is based on an experience of yourself which is completely inadequate. So long, therefore, as you are the thinker separate from the experience of thoughts, the feeler separate from the experience of feelings, the experiencer separate from experiences, you will feel strangled, you will feel like the neck of the hourglass, because that's the way you define it. And therefore, you will not be able to use energy joyously. You will always be using it with an ulterior motive, because you have defined yourself as a puppet, as a motivated being, as a driven being. When, however, this dissolves, you will find at once a very strange thing, that meditation, religious and spiritual exercises, all those things are not necessary. People are always asking, is it necessary to know yoga breathing? Is it necessary to do Tai Chi? Is it necessary to, I don't know what the hell, to be psychoanalyzed? And I would ask, necessary for what? Where are you going? What do you want? Yes, sure. If you want to get to New York, it's necessary to take the highway. But where are you going? What do you mean necessary? Well, is it necessary for becoming a Buddha? Anybody want to be a Buddha? Do you know what it means to be a Buddha? How do you know you want to be a Buddha if you don't know what a Buddha is? People think, well, it would be nice to have peace of mind, be serene, be calm, be undisturbed by this, that, and the other. But you see, so long as you make all those things objects of desire, you are defining yourself as lacking. And a person who's looking for peace is obviously in turmoil. A person who is looking to end conflict is in conflict. And so the more you strive to stop the interior commotions, the more you are stirring them up. You are smoothing the waters with flat irons. So then comes up the people who say, all right, now, if you are going to tell us that meditation is not necessary and that it's all here and now, then why do you meditate? Why do you have religion at all? Why do you have rites? Why do you chant? Why do you do this, that, and the other? Why do you even talk about it? And my answer to that is, there is no good reason for it whatsoever. This is a form of joyous energy, and it's a form of dance. It's a groovy thing to do. There are all kinds of groovy things to do, and to everybody according to his taste. If, of course, you can make anything whatsoever, any human activity, into meditation, simply by being with it and doing it completely to do it. In other words, when you're, say, swimming, if you really enjoy swimming, you're not swimming to get to the other side of a river or to swim so many yards or any competing with yourself or with other people like that. You're swimming to experience the water rippling past you, the floating sensation, to lie on your back and look at the blue sky and the gulls circling. You are doing that every moment of it. You are simply absorbed in this ripply, luminous world, looking at the patterns and the shifting net of sunlight underneath the sand way down. See, that's it. That's what it's about. That's what swimming is about. So you're not going anywhere. And if you really know swimming like that, then you don't go in for swimming competition. You don't try and use swimming to aggrandize yourself, because you're sufficiently aggrandized just by swimming. So some like swimming. I would put it to you that we can track back through religion. You know, if we've gone through all the phases of religion till we got to the religion of non-religion, where we saw it was all here anyway and there was nothing necessary to be done, then we can go back through the rest of it in that spirit and turn it into an art form, and a real groovy art form. But you see, if you ask me, well, why choose that rather than some other, I won't have an answer for you, except that getting together and chanting together is what a lot of people do when they don't have television. In the jungles, on the steppes, in mountain communities, since as long as anyone can remember, people got together and do a thing I call digging sound, and played with the sonic energy of the universe in just the same way as I described somebody playing with the water while swimming. And these people, when they do that, they don't worry about where they're going or what their destiny is or any nonsense of that kind, because they're completely alive. So to understand all that I'm trying to say, I would like to see if you could change your basic notions of economics. And I mean the economics of energy. We are always scrimping and saving because our economics are based on scarcity rather than exuberance. But notice that the economics of nature are allegedly wasteful. They're based on exuberance. Many more seeds than are necessary for trees. Many more spermatozoa than are necessary for people. Many more stars than anybody could conceivably want. Galaxies galore. Nature is a vast celebration of energy. But if you complain about this and say, oh dear me, it's all running out, that means, you see, that you are looking for fulfillment in time. And you say, if there is not enough future, we won't get the golden goody we're looking for at the end of the line. See, there is that feeling. There is the great golden goody. And it's represented in religious art by the golden flower. This is everywhere. When a human being tries to symbolize what it is that he really wants at the end of the line, very often thinks of a flower. There is the celestial rose in Dante's vision of paradise. There is the golden lotus of Mahavairocana, the great sun Buddha, at the center of the mandala. There is the rose garden of Our Lady. There are rose windows in cathedrals. Always that flower at the end of the line. And Freud says, well, you know what that is. The flower, that's where everybody wants to go back to the womb. Well, what's so attractive about the womb? You see, to explain the religious imagery of the flower by sex is only to add another puzzle. What's so great about sex? What's so great about going back to the womb? Why? Because there I am regressed to the place which psychologists don't really like to talk about. Because they say, in the womb, the baby feels omnipotent. And this is, of course, a fantasy. It isn't mature. In other words, you don't have in the womb a 19th century personality, a Darwinian struggle for existence personality, because you are not defined in the womb as we define man in our secular philosophy. In the womb, the baby floats. In the womb, the baby doesn't know the difference between what's inside its skin and what's outside. It has what Freud calls the oceanic feeling. That is another form of cosmic consciousness, only the baby hasn't got the language to express it like an adult. But there it is, it's in cosmic consciousness. And that's what everybody sort of wants, because that is our original nature. So that's why the womb is interesting, and why the flower is interesting, and why we symbolize that golden goody at the end of the line with the golden flower, the aureole around the saint or the Buddha. That's why we all envy the bees who float around gardens and suck honey from the flowers, go into those luminous cups, as Oscar Wilde put it, the flowers in which the golden bees drink. That flower, the golden goody, isn't at the end of the line. You're in it. The radiating petals, the mandala, the great circle of the flower, is the galaxy in which you live. It is the whole universe radiating around you in which you are. And this radiation is also cyclic. It's the dance in which you're involved. If you'd only realize that the purpose of life is not in the future. And if you think it is, you'll go on and on and on looking for it there and never find it. Because the future in its own way fades out in the same way as the past fades out. You get older and older and older, and if you don't come crash, you just peter out. It wasn't there. And you may feel vaguely cheated about the whole thing. You were given the come on, that there was something coming. There was that thing at the end of the line, the golden goody. But you've been sitting in the middle of the golden goody all the time.